Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something I think everyone grapples with, that invisible force that stops us.
Yeah, stops us from starting or maybe continuing or even finishing things that, really matter to us.
Exactly. We've got a whole stack of insights here, really digging into this energy.
The one that keeps you from getting important stuff done.
Right. It's that feeling, isn't it? You know what you should do, but then something just blocks you. Suddenly, cleaning out your desk feels incredibly urgent.
Or checking emails again. Or, yeah, the sock drawer example is perfect.
So our mission today is to really understand this force, spot its disguises, and crucially, figure out how to push past it.
To actually bring those ideas and projects into the world, it's a big challenge, but a really important one.
Absolutely. And the material we looked at doesn't treat this lightly. It's not just about, productivity hacks.
No, it gets deeper. It describes it almost as an enemy, an internal antagonist.
So let's unpack that. What exactly is this thing?
The source material calls it resistance. And the key point, right off the bat, is that it's not about you being lazy.
Okay, that's important. It's not bad luck either. Or just circumstances.
No, it's defined as an internal force. It's that voice inside your own head.
The one that pipes up just when you're about to tackle something meaningful.
That's the one. It whispers, oh, you're not quite ready for this, or what if you fail? Think how embarrassing that would be.
But the classic, let's just start tomorrow, you'll be fresher then.
Exactly. And it feels like fear a lot of the time, but it often sounds incredibly logical, like a reasonable argument.
And from the outside, it just looks like you're busy, just busy doing other things.
The master of distraction. And the authors, like Stephen Pressfield, they don't pull any punches. He says, resistance will fight you to the death.
Wow. That phrase really hits hard, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It frames it as this serious internal battle.
It does. Because resistance sees growth, creativity, anything that pushes you beyond your comfort zone as a fundamental threat.
A threat to what? To staying the same?
To the status quo, yeah. To staying safe, maybe staying small. It actively fights against your own evolution, your potential.
Okay, so it's this internal enemy fighting growth. But it's sneaky. How does it actually work? How does it trip us up so effectively?
Well, it rarely announces itself, right? It doesn't wear a name tag saying, hi, I'm resistance. It's all about the disguises.
Like reaching for your phone instead of writing that chapter.
Exactly. Or spending weeks designing the perfect logo instead of actually talking to potential customers. Endless preparation.
Ah, yes, the preparation trap. The material mentioned Eric's story, which sounds like a textbook case of this.
Yeah, Eric. He had this really solid product idea. Smart, simple, but he spent 2 years getting ready.
2 years doing what?
Building a super complex website, endless market research, tweaking tiny branding details, look really productive.
But he hadn't actually launched anything.
Exactly. And when pressed, he admitted the real reason was fear. Fear it just wouldn't be good enough.
Wow. All that activity. A shield against the actual scary step.
That's resistance wearing the mask of perfectionism, of thoroughness. And the core insight here is crucial. You don't beat resistance with more thinking.
Or more planning.
Or more planning. You beat it with action. Action is the antidote. Period.
Okay, action is the key. But starting, that first step can feel like climbing a mountain when resistance is screaming at you. How do you initiate that action?
The sources are really clear on this. You often need to move fast. Resistance feeds on delay.
So the longer you wait.
The stronger it gets. It plants deeper roots of doubt, builds bigger walls of excuses. It's like that weed analogy, easier to pull when it's small.
Makes sense. Tony Robbins says, the only impossible journey is the one you never begin. That first action breaks the spell, kind of.
It really does break the inertia. And here's the practical part. That first action doesn't need to be huge. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be movement.
So thinking about that thing I've been avoiding.
Right. That email, that blank page, that phone call. The advice is just to do the absolute first tiny step.
Like just open the document or write the subject line.
Exactly that. Or sketch the roughest possible outline. That tiny act, that's a win. The goal for that specific step is just done. Not perfectly done, just done.
Done is the goal for that first move.
Sure.
I like that. It tackles perfectionism head on, which feels like resistance's favorite disguise.
Oh, it's a classic. Resistance whispers, if you can't do it flawlessly, don't bother. It sets this impossible standard.
It guarantees you never start.
Precisely. But nothing great starts perfect. Think about a sculptor. They don't wait for divine inspiration to strike the perfect block of marble.
They just start hammering, right?
They start hammering, they chip away. The form emerges through the messy process bit by bit. It's about engaging with the material.
Stephen Pressfield again. Done is better than perfect. It feels like permission to just make a mess initially.
It is permission. And speaking of what stops us, what about fear? It's so tangled up with resistance, you feel scared, so you freeze.
Yeah, how does the material address that? Because fear feels very real.
It does, but the insight is a bit counterintuitive. It suggests fear isn't actually the enemy. It might even be a signpost.
A signpost? How? Showing you where to go?
Kind of. Fear often arises when you're about to do something that truly matters, something that involves vulnerability or stepping into the unknown, which is precisely where growth happens.
Right.
Dr. Joe Dispenza has this line: your personality creates your personal reality. If your inner world is dominated by fear, your outer world naturally shrinks.
So the trick isn't to not feel fear.
Exactly. The trick is to act even when you feel fear, to move through it.
So your heart's pounding, you feel that anxiety, but you write the sentence anyway, make the call anyway.
Precisely. Recognize the fear. There's resistance waving its little flag. Wave back, metaphorically, and keep walking. Take the step.
So acknowledge it, but don't obey it.
Yes, because resistance is real, it's internal, but so are your courage and your creativity. Every small action against that voice strengthens them. You don't need to wait to feel ready or perfect.
Just start where you are.
The only way out is through the work itself.
Okay, so let's say you've done that. You pushed through the initial barrier, took some action, you're moving, but then you hit what the material calls the messy middle. Why is this part so tough?
Well, the beginning often has that buzz, right? Novelty, excitement. The end has the payoff, the finish line you can almost taste.
But the middle?
The middle is fog. It's confusion, doubt creeps back in, maybe boredom sets in. Progress feels slow, unclear. This is where the real battle often lies.
Yeah, Pressfield calls it out directly. The middle is where most quit. Beginnings are fun, endings are meaningful. The middle is hard.
That sums it up perfectly. And resistance. It knows this is prime territory. It often doubles down here with different tactics.
Like in Julie's story, the author writing her novel.
Exactly. She had that initial burst, but then, deep in chapter 7, bam, the doubts hit hard. Is this actually any good? Who would even read this?
That sounds familiar.
It's resistance attacking the uncertainty of the middle, precisely because the dream is becoming real enough to be a threat.
So when you're in that fog, you can't see the end, how do you possibly keep going?
You have to cultivate trust. Trust in the process, even when clarity is low. Keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Like that hiking analogy you mentioned. Hiking in fog.
Yeah, you can't see the summit, maybe not even the next bend in the trail, but each step forward on the path is progress. You're still gaining altitude.
You have to trust the direction even without seeing the destination.
Exactly. And Brian Tracy's quote fits here too. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. You have to keep starting, keep moving in the middle.
It's not about feeling confident then.
Not necessarily, it's about persistence. Progress, not perfection, is the key. One messy paragraph written, that's progress. One difficult conversation handled, progress.
And the material had that blunt advice. Cut the drama, do the work.
Yeah.
That sounds harsh.
It's bracing, but it's vital. Resistance loves drama. It wants you tangled up in feelings. I don't feel inspired. This is just too hard. I'm probably not cut out for this.
The internal monologue of despair.
Right. But the source is stress. Your dream doesn't care about your feelings today. It just needs you to show up. Pressfield again. There's no room for drama-only action.
So notice the feelings, but don't let them drive.
Exactly. Acknowledge them. Okay, feeling discouraged today, but let them ride shotgun. You keep your hands on the wheel, do the work.
That sounds like how you build grit.
It absolutely is. Grit is that muscle forged in the messy middle. It's sticking with it when it's boring, frustrating, when you feel stuck.
Like learning guitar. Your fingers hurt, you can't hit the chord.
Perfect analogy. You want to quit? Do something easier. But pushing through that is what builds strength. The middle is asking, do you still want this when it's just plain hard work?
And resistance doesn't just give up, does it? It changes shape in the middle.
It evolves. Its message might shift from don't start to this is garbage or you'll never finish this anyway, why bother?
So the key is recognizing it again.
Yes, naming it. When that cynical, critical voice pops up, you identify it. Resistance again. And then you refocus on the task at hand. It loses some power when you see it clearly.
But how do you stay motivated when the big payoff feels ages away?
One really useful strategy is to reward the showing up. Don't wait for the finish line to acknowledge effort.
Celebrate the daily grind.
Yes, putting in the time today, taking action against resistance, that's the win in the middle. Wrote for your hour, win. Made the calls, win. Focused for 25 minutes, win.
So create small rewards.
Yeah, something simple. Mark it on a calendar, play a favorite song, a small treat. Make the habit of working through the middle feel satisfying. These small victories build the bridge.
Like David's story, the artist with the big painting.
Exactly. He was totally overwhelmed, stuck. The advice was simple, just paint one corner.
Break it down.
He focused only on that small, manageable piece each day. Corner by corner, section by section. He finished that huge piece by painting through the fog, just doing the next small thing.
That's a great takeaway for anyone stuck mid-project.
Remember, David, the middle is supposed to be hard. It means you're actually doing something significant. Keep painting your corner.
Okay, so you've navigated the fog, you've painted your corners, the end is actually in sight. How do you ensure you finish strong?
Well, first, you might need to deliberately reconnect with that initial spark. That energy might feel faint, but the why is still there.
Remind yourself why you started this whole thing.
Yes. Ask yourself, why does this matter? Who is it for? What will finishing mean? That purpose, that why, is your high-octane fuel for the final stretch.
And I bet perfectionism makes a grand reappearance right about now.
Oh, it's resistance's last stand. It screams, wait, it's not perfect yet, you can't release this. It's a total lie designed to keep you from crossing the line.
Perfect is the enemy of done.
Exactly. Perfect is a mirage. Done is real. Think of Leo, the filmmaker. 2 years editing.
2 years on one short film, wow.
Constantly tweaking, never ready. Someone finally told him, you're hiding, not creating. He forced himself to submit it, flaws and all. 1 second prize at a festival. Sometimes good enough and finished is way better than perfect and perpetually unfinished.
Pressfield's quote feels like marching orders here. Resistance will tell you anything to keep you from finishing. Ignore it. Finish the thing.
It's a command. And to help obey it, the material talks about an identity shift. Start seeing yourself as a finisher.
Not just someone who starts things, but someone who sees them through.
Exactly. Actively cultivate that identity. Finish small things, consistently finish the email, finish the workout, finish that small task. Each completion reinforces. I'm the kind of person who finishes.
You start to believe it.
And how you talk to yourself shapes how you act. Believe you're a finisher and you're more likely to push through that final resistance.
Making the finish line concrete also seems key.
Hugely important. Sometimes we drift near the end because done is too vague. Define it precisely. What is the exact action that means finished?
Sending the final report. Clicking publish. Making that last call.
Yes. Make it a clear, simple, actionable step, not some fuzzy future state. Brian Tracy said, clear goals increase confidence, energy, and persistence. Apply that to the finish line itself.
And, surprise, surprise, resistance makes one last desperate attack right at the very end.
This is its fiercest moment. It knows if you finish this, you level up, you gain power, so it throws everything it has left at you.
Intense doubt, suddenly obsessing over tiny flaws, huge distractions, seemingly out of nowhere.
All of it. Manufactured crises. This is the point where so many people, unbelievably close, just walk away.
It's the final exam.
It is. Pressfield calls it perfectly. Resistance will strike the moment before the finish. That's the test. Pass it. When that final storm hits, see it for what it is.
Not a reason to stop, but proof you're almost there.
Exactly. It's confirmation that you're about to achieve something meaningful.
And ultimately, this whole journey, pushing through resistance from start to finish, it connects to something deeper, doesn't it? Like answering a call.
That's how the material frames it. That feeling, that pull towards creating something specific. A book, a business, a piece of art, a message. It isn't random.
It's like your unique contribution trying to emerge.
Yes, a genuine calling from within, guiding you toward becoming more fully yourself. And you don't need permission from anyone else to pursue it.
You just need to show up.
Show up consistently, especially when it's hard, when nobody's watching. Because what you're bringing forth matters. It matters for the world, yes, but maybe even more, it matters for you, for your own journey.
Tony Robbins again. The only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment.
And the sources suggest you possess both. The real work is wielding that commitment against the constant pushback of resistance.
Like Elijah with his children's book dream, held back for 6 years.
6 years paralyzed by fear, by resistance. Then he encountered that simple phrase, do the work. He just did it, wrote a draft, shared it.
And it connected with a child.
Yeah, and he said he cried, not because it was a bestseller, but because he finished. He broke through years of that internal barrier. That act of completion changed everything for him.
That's incredibly moving. It speaks volumes about the power of just finishing.
It does. You weren't born just to consume or to stay stuck wondering what if. You have things to create, to build, to share. Resistance is strong, yes, but you are stronger.
So whether it's that book, that business idea, that difficult conversation you need to have, that project at work, finish it. Your work matters. You matter.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. What's one small, concrete thing you've been putting off that you could commit to finishing today? Just one thing.
And how might simply focusing on getting that thing done, forgetting about perfect for now, start to shift things for you? What might change in your reality?